share with you two quotes that I found on a YouTube channel. Shocking quotes. Shocking but not surprising, nevertheless. I want you to pay attention to this, right? This guy, Bernard the Baron Cara, whatever his name is, you know, as you can see, from 1867. This is before colonialism really took hold. Yes? How did they achieve that? How did they achieve that? Whatever these beliefs they achieved in the Muslim lands, this is one of their strategies. This is what the thinkers used to say. He says, we should endeavor to split the Muslim world, to break its moral unity, using ethnic and political divisions, in order to increase, on the one hand, national sentiment, and to decrease, on the other hand, that of religious community. In one word, he says, let us segment Islam and make use, moreover, of Muslim heresies, bid'ah. He's saying, subhanAllah, he's saying, let's make use of bid'ah. Let's spread bid'ah as much as we can. And Sufi orders, in particular. And we all know, yes, Sufis are funded by Queen Elizabeth herself. Yes, she's funded them back in India, in Pakistan, whatever. She's funded them there. She funds them in the UK. They are the ones with the biggest masjids. They're the ones with government support. They're the ones, you know, that implement their agendas for them. And here you have it, 1867, not yesterday, not day before. Almost 2 decades ago. He says what? Let's make use, moreover, of Muslim heresies, bid'ah, and the Sufi orders to weaken Islam, to render it forever incapable of great awakenings. Kadhab, ya adu wallah. Wallahi, the ummah is capable of great awakenings, and the great awakenings doesn't come from you. It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it will come. And that's why we fight bid'ah. That's why we fight these heresies. That's why we oppose Sufiya and the likes. Because we know that's what stands in between Islam and its great awakening. And they know that. Our enemies know that before we know it. How are we oblivious of this then? Okay? Do you understand now why these big Muslim organizations have got all of those resources that they have? Do you know why? Do you know why they get airtime on TV? This is why. Look at what this guy says. He says, the truth, through the European education mill, the young Muslim loses his Islamism. Produce a class of individuals, many of whom are de-Muslimized Muslims. De-Muslimized Muslims. Listen to this. This is their principle. He says, it should never be forgotten, he says. Reformed Islam is Islam no longer. How come we don't know this? A lot of the Muslims. How don't we realize that reformed Islam, Islam that has been changed, that's not the original Islam, is Islam no longer. Nothing will rectify the latter part of this ummah except that which rectified the earlier part. The Islam is the Islam of yesterday, the Islam of the time of the companions. Any Islam that has been changed is Islam no longer. He knows this. As time goes on, he says, the Muslims will develop a religion, possibly a pure deism, which will not be altogether the Islamism of the past and of the present, and which will cast aside much of the teachings of Muhammad. This is their objective. Okay? We don't want the Islamism from the past. We don't want that. We want them to cast aside the Sunnah of Muhammad ﷺ, because they know what Islam has done. They know what Islam has achieved. They know this. We know this ourselves. We know what Islam has achieved. We're not oblivious of our history. But how come then we don't take the steps that those Salaf took so that we can achieve what they achieved? How come we're falling for these bid'ahs and these heresies and these people of misguidance? How? How come? So people of misguidance, to conclude, they will busy you with other things as much as they can. They don't want you to learn Aqidah. Some of you will busy you with the Quran. Naam. When I say the Quran, I don't mean the tafsir of the Quran. They'll busy you with qira'at, maqamat, tajweed, you name it. Naam. Like the Ikhwan al-Muslimun and their likes. This is nothing new. The Prophet ﷺ said to the companions that you will belittle your recitation when it comes to the recitation of the Khawarij. Okay? So reciting the Quran beautifully with tajweed, it means nothing if your aqeedah is corrupt. Some of you will busy you with what they call da'wah, like the tabligh. Let's do da'wah. And when you pay attention to what they're calling to, they're not calling to tawheed. What da'wah are you calling to then? This is not da'wah. This is corruption. Some of you will busy you with politics. Okay, what did this Muslim ruler do? The Muslim rulers, how much money they got, what they should spend it on, which countries they should have treaties with, which countries they should wage war on. They'll busy you with politics, so that you don't focus on Aqidah. And some of them will busy you with social activism. Let's go and demonstrate and this, and let's do that, and let's fundraise for this, and let's do a petition here and a petition there. All of this, one objective: to busy you away from Aqidah. None of them, all of them have one thing in common. I've mentioned 4 of these people, misguidance, and I can mention 70, it doesn't matter. They all have one thing in common. They don't want you to learn the correct Aqidah, and they'll busy you away from Aqidah. And those people that teach Aqidah, they'll call them names. They'll call them Wahhabi, they'll call them whatever they want to call them, they'll call them names. Okay? طيب, we'll suffice with that. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. Sorry for going over the time.